India, the new Asia Cup 2023 champions. Welcome back to Cricbuzz Live. It's been a short day. It's been a quick day. Are we happy or what? No rain. India making those 51 runs very quickly. Here we have an IIM pass out, sir. Silly question, sir. X-axis, Y-axis. So if you plot India's performance in this tournament, is it like this?
First of all, if you have to go to IIM to know that this is X-axis and this is Y-axis, we are already in trouble.
Sir, people like me have to, sir.
This will always be X, this will always be Y, this will always be Z. Don't worry, some people talk about a fourth dimension also. But in India kept, you think India went like this, but don't forget around here on the line was the Bangladesh game. So India went
and then back
like this. But they did this in a game that was inconsequential. Yeah. Sri Lanka were like this, and then this was the final. It lasted 22 overs. Sometimes you have a nightmare. We've all had nightmares. I don't know if you still get nightmares, Manish. I still get nightmares. I'm sleeping and I think I'm on stage. I've forgotten my lines. We all get nightmares of different kinds. Yeah. This is a nightmare played out in real life. This happens very, 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 very rarely. It's a nightmare that's been played out in real life. Sri Lanka will go back tomorrow morning, wake up and say, thank God it was a dream. And suddenly say, no, it wasn't. It actually happened. This is as deflating a performance as you can get. What they have to do between now and in the next 2 weeks is to say it never happened. And we are far too good a team to let that happen. It never happened. But how this affects them, I do not know.
Well, they say amnesia is a good quality to have at times in
sport. They need strong personalities. Who is the strong personality in there who's going to pick them up from a game that gets over in 22 overs? It's a final. It's got over in 22 overs and it only lasted this long because for some reason they took a half-hour break. I don't know why they took a half-hour break.
Yep. Well, two things. One, of course, congratulations India for a big win and congratulations, you will make it in time for your flight, sir.
Thank you.
Anticlimactic. Has it been the worst, not the worst, but the most one-sided final ever?
I jogged my memory as far back as I could, and I think this would probably be one of the most one-sided finals.
That 6th standard A versus... I'm not making fun of Sri Lanka, but this was just one of those days.
Yeah, it wasn't a great day for them, a day that they should forget and they will forget. And if they want to make an impact in this World Cup, it's a game that should be forgotten very fast.
One man that shall remember this one for a long, long time, Mohammad Siraj, 6 wickets, joint best spell at number 3, I think, in that list. 6 for 21 for Mohammad Siraj. He just seemed to blow away the Sri Lankans. It was a spell they never recovered from.
And out of those 21 runs, this evening he'll go and say, Virat bhai, kaiku phege wo, to phege mere 4 run chale gaye usme. But as we talked about just a little while ago,
yeah,
he just bowled beautifully. Did he bowl well enough to get 6 for virtually nothing? We don't know.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that Sri Lanka have to think about when they look back at this game is when we get quality fast bowling, what do? In our conditions, when it comes to playing spin, we are a good side. But when it comes to pace, when the ball is bouncing, even Vellallaage. Yeah. If you notice how Vellallaage gets out, normally when DK just looked the other way, no, I'm pretending to play a shot. Normally when you get caught of the glove, you'll get caught of the front glove, right? Most of the time.
Harsha, you're making too many unbelievable coaching manual type.
But he got out, he hit the back glove, he was that late.
Bang on. Absolutely, I completely agree. And it's amazing in the little time that I've spent with Harsha as a broadcaster, he's so intuitive. It's actually unbelievable, and it is bang on. Generally, you see when people play a pull shot, they get caught the bottom glove, which tells they were late on the ball. Hit the top edge or the bottom glove. This one, he was trying to fend the ball, and he had no time. He closed his eye, and ball actually came and hit his top hand, which is very rare.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a tough one. But Mohammad Siraj, all 6 wickets, not all 6 were of great deliveries. Did the initial burst completely shock or unsettle the Sri Lankan batting lineup? They never really recovered from those initial blows.
Is there a doubt to that? I think Dasun Shanaka would have been, after winning the toss, thinking, okay, we have a great chance in this match. Just gone, put his feet up and was expecting a good performance. And then suddenly in like less than 15 minutes, he's padded up and inside the crease also and then found his way back very soon too. So most of them would be shell-shocked. It happened to me a little bit during the 2019 World Cup when, I was batting at number 7, so I was very relaxed and chill. And then suddenly, a couple of moments later, I'm wearing my blues and I'm out with my pads as well. So it is a massive shock when that happens.
But as I said, the one thing, there are no secrets in the world. Australia will see this footage, England will see this footage, Pakistan will, everyone will see this footage, and they'll say, get into the Sri Lankan batting quickly with pace. I'm not sure they enjoy the pace. We saw that even when Hardik Pandya came back to bowl that second spell in that close match that India won, and they don't like the pace. So today was pace and swing, and this message will go out to the world that pace and swing, Sri Lanka are susceptible. Nice slow turn Sri Lankan kind of pitches, which is a skill too. Don't underestimate that. They're much better.
All 10 wickets to pace, and to think India sent an SOS to a spinner and had their 3 spinners in the 11.
I feel bad for Washington Sundar. I met him at the airport. I should have told him to just stay back probably and not take the flight. Look, I think Sri Lanka had a tough day against pace, but make no mistake about this. They've played recently in Zimbabwe against good attacks, even against Pakistan, which is a very, very sound attack. They've done decently well. So they play very decently to pace. It's just today was an off day where everything that they wanted to do went wrong. And it always happens. As Harsha rightly pointed out, 36 all out was India, and then we went on to achieve history soon after. So these kind of moments happen. It's happened in every cricketer's life. The best part about these kind of games, it comes and goes by quick. There's always another game round the corner, and I wish Sri Lanka get back really soon because they do have a good team and they have it in them to compete in the World Cup.
Earlier on one of our shows, Harsha spoke about how there would have been twin objectives. One is, of course, to win. Has the other objective been met from an India point of view? How many boxes have been ticked?
I think today the biggest box that was ticked was Siraj. In that now I think Bumrah and Siraj are my opening combination. It's a rare day that I'll play Bumrah, Siraj, Shami, all three. But Hardik's performance has ensured that you have a quality third seamer available to you. So Hardik can play as third or fourth depending on what the conditions are. If there are conditions where you need to play 3 spinners, then you already have Hardik who's perfectly capable of being the third seamer in the form that he's in. So that was the one big plus. I think Shubman Gill's batting, because all the talk is on Rohit and Virat. Where's KL Rahul going to be? Can Ishan Kishan come back in? Can you play Sky? There was so much conversation, and Shubman Gill has said, it's okay, you keep talking, I'm here. So Shubman Gill was the other big plus. I think Ishan in the middle order, giving the option, if required in the middle order, was the other big plus. So India had a lot of pluses. I think the form of Kuldeep was a plus.
What if India have to play 3 spinners? Is that a question that's been asked?
They are very much ready. If Akshar Patel is fit, it will be Akshar, Jadeja and Kuldeep Yadav. I think there's been so many good boxes that's been ticked. For me, the biggest tick was KL Rahul. You got to understand, he didn't play the first 2 games, came back, got 100 against Pakistan under trying circumstances. When it comes to the pitch, Virat Kohli got a lovely 100. Jasprit Bumrah, which is opening spell almost in every game he's bowled. So there's been plenty of pluses. If you do look at how things have progressed, KL Rahul's keeping is a good plus. I think he's looking in good nick. Ishan Kishan's batting in that first game when he got 82 in trying circumstances. Him and Hardik, 87 is what Hardik got, and the partnership that they forged together was really, really effective on that day. So there are plenty of pluses, and I'll also add a couple of things that probably that's the next question. I'm just going at it. A couple of areas India need to be wary about. Ravindra Jadeja's batting form. Yes. I think he is somebody who's very capable of winning matches single-handedly. We remember what he did at the end of May for CSK in yellow clothes. He was phenomenal doing what he did. Akshar Patel's bowling. I think that is it's not a concern, it is an area that they would want him to pick up and get going very fast, because if those 2 things come in place, most boxes are ticked. If they had set out to Asia Cup thinking these are the things we want to do, I have a feeling they've achieved most of it.
Yeah, my question for you though is now, initially it was, your first choice is Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul, that Ishan Kishan is the backup. KL Rahul is my main keeper. KL Rahul couldn't get early games. Ishan Kishan came in. Unfortunately, Shreyas is injured. We really have to feel for Shreyas. If he is not fully ready before the World Cup starts, and both are now available, in that KL Rahul is available, Ishan Kishan is available, as we saw now. My gut feel is that KL kept wickets here because he needed keeping time behind him. Yeah. Now, in 11 where both are guaranteed starters, who keeps wickets?
KL Rahul at this point of time, for the main reason that it keeps him slightly more injury-free. I don't think his shoulder is in a great place in terms of him diving and throwing balls. I think that is one of the main reasons why they would prefer him keeping right now. And
playing 3 spinners, Ishan not a better keeper to spin?
Ishan is definitely the more experienced keeper. He's had more volume, but I will still stick to KL Rahul for the only simple reason that I think at this point of time, he's better served playing all the matches and being sure that as a keeper, he will do it and the continuity that comes with it. Whereas with Ishan, I still feel with the amount of matches left, if Shreyas Iyer starts doing well, there will be a point where they might have to look whether it's Shreyas or Ishan.
Let's talk about KL Rahul and his batting performances. Is it the number of runs he scored, or is it the manner in which he scored those runs? Is that the bigger story for you?
I think the manner in which he scored is very KL style, takes time in the first 30 balls. Once he's set, then he's very, very good. His most impressive inning for me came against Sri Lanka. I thought the way he played spin on that day when others were struggling around him was phenomenal. It showed why he's a touch above everybody else in rotating strike for the spinners. I thought in the last game that he looked, when he played Bangladesh, it again was a case of where he couldn't rotate as much and played 37 balls before he got out 19, which wasn't his best knock in this tournament. For me, he is batting in the most KL Rahul way possible and he is setting that template for himself. His challenge will come if he gets to bat in the 30th, 35th over when he has to go and get going straight away. That will be the big challenge for him. But I can tell you this, he is definitely a person who is capable of achieving special things even if he goes in that situation.
I'd like to believe the debate is closed. There was so much debate about should KL Rahul be given another chance, should he be playing, he's not done well here, did he do well enough there? Right? The debate is closed. He's a player who's cut from a different cloth. If KL Rahul is batting well, then he's in the side.
Shubman Gill and his form perhaps also in a sense will liberate Rohit Sharma as well, because it's a huge load off his shoulders if Shubman Gill is among the runs, and this is what he did at the Asia Cup, staggering average of almost 70, not a bad strike rate either.
2023, Shubman Gill will be hanging on to the year and saying, don't go away. Look what all that he's done in 2023. He's got an ODI double. He's gone and got T20 hundreds. He's got Test match hundreds. It's been a fabulous year for Shubman Gill. And sometimes in life you have breakthrough years. 2011-12, Virat Kohli's breakthrough years. Similarly, if he can go and have a strong World Cup, 10 years from now you look back when Shubman Gill is hopefully breaking records, and you'll say this 2023 was his breakthrough year.
What is that walk on water line for him? Shubman Gill.
He's still young. Let us see. When he gets to Rahul Dravid, we'll talk about that.
Right. I suppose Indian fans will be very relieved to see, all right, Rohit among the runs, Shubman Gill among the runs. These are boxes a lot of fans take in their heads as well.
If your openers get going, it's a great sign, and every fan has obviously the Indian team in mind, and for them, the top three batters, Rohit, Shubman and Virat, will value a lot, and out of that, two have been legends in this format for some time now, and it's good to see them being consistent, which is an important part of playing a tournament like this, and then the rest have followed through with good performances as well. As an Indian fan, if you're sitting and watching this Asia Cup, you would finish, once this Asia Cup is finished, you would think, okay, now here is a team which I think has a great chance to qualify. They'd have to do something really silly and run out of form and woefully out of luck if they don't get to the semi-final stage.
So tell me, today Ishan came out to open the batting. Is it Rohit saying, young man, go show me. We know you can open the batting as well. I've done it before, go. Because you're in this side not only as a backup keeper, not only as a left-handed option in the middle order, but you're also in this side as a third opener.
I think just the fact that he's been sent out to bat says it all for me. It just says, I've had enough time with the bat. I've got 350s on the bounce. I feel really good with my batting. Here is another opportunity for a young man to go out there and bat. And just tells you Rohit's mindset as well. He's very giving right now. If at all a batsman needs to take a risk, he's always the first one to do it. He sets the tone. And that's been the hallmark of his captaincy in the little time that he's had being an Indian captain.
A final is a final, but if you had to pick one top performance from India at this Asia Cup, is it the win against Pakistan, that tricky one against Sri Lanka, or is it tonight?
The tricky one against Sri Lanka, I would say, because I think they'd got a low score, below par score. The whole team battled together, rallied together with performances from everybody coming through with the bowling department in the second innings to ensure that win and put a foot in the final. So for me, the Sri Lanka game was definitely the game that India rallied together as a team.
To me, two big pluses were India won 2 games against decent opposition in completely contrasting styles. Against Pakistan, remember we were sitting here and saying, how will Pakistan bowl if they don't get wickets with the new ball? And India dominated that game, went and made 350, right? Went and made 350. Then next day, they are having to play this next game, with India don't play next day. Next game, they're having to play this tricky game against Sri Lanka, and they pulled that out as well. So in contrasting styles, they produced 2 wins. I think I mean, if they had to start the World Cup next week, they'd be ready.
India's one batting first, India's one bowling first as well. Pretty decent outing for Rohit as captain.
You'd imagine, as DK said, there's just the one thing he wants to see now. In the 3 games against Australia, he wants to see Ravindra Jadeja produce 1 or 2 match-winning performances, and India's ready. Take care of Hardik's back, take care of Bumrah's fitness. From now on, it's just ensuring that everybody's fit and ready to go to the World Cup, and that Jadeja is getting his batting form back. He bowled well against Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Just getting his batting form back, and I think India's ready for the World Cup at the moment. You can't do more than this in your preparation.
And that he scored runs as well helps Rohit.
Oh, he's been a very consistent performer in ODI cricket. The only format I think he's been found wanting a bit is the T20 format for India. But with the World Cup, he's been from the last World Cup. When I said from 2019, he had a great 2019 World Cup. From there, if you do look at his ODI stats, it's been very consistent, up into the high mid-40s. So he is somebody who, from being somebody who can be relied upon to get those big scores, has transformed into this player who doesn't mind playing very impactful knocks, if you know what I mean. Like, he's willing to take risks at different point of time when others fail to do so. So that's why he ends up losing his wicket sometimes to options that you're thinking, should he have played that shot? But being Rohit Sharma means being selfless, and that he's done really well.
His average has dropped a little bit. It's not come down dramatically. It's dropped a little bit, but the strike rate has gone up from 90 something to 104, 105. And he's absolutely right. In our cricket discourses in our country, we are obsessed with individual records. Yeah. Absolutely obsessed with individual records. I think Rohit is sending out a message saying, I don't mind making a quick 65 that sets the tempo for the whole side. You know, in many ways, if you have to score 360, you're actually better off making 360 for 5 than 360 for 2, because it means more people have contributed to scoring those runs. So Rohit is sending out a message saying, I don't mind not making the 240s, but I'm setting the base. I'm saying this is how we are going to play.
A win is a win. It must be celebrated, as it shall be on Twitter or elsewhere as well. Can India, the team or the country, make the mistake of celebrating this win too much? How much can be read into this as a big multinational tournament win?
It doesn't matter what we or what people on Twitter are saying and how much we are celebrating. It matters what they're thinking inside their change room. And so it doesn't matter, because on Twitter, you score 300 one day, you score 20 one day. The moods fluctuate.
Yeah.
On Twitter, if you had to pick a team, you would have a completely different team playing for India every 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what people outside are thinking. It matters what people inside are thinking.
Yeah.
And if they're quietly confident, and if they say, yeah, is there any box left to tick? Let's try and tick that box off. That is all that matters.
And you can trust Rahul Dravid to make sure he puts things in perspective, because I'm sure he'd be looking at the much bigger picture.
The Wall is a man who doesn't get carried away too easily. In the little time that I've spent with him, he has measured mark about how he wants to go about things. Somebody who just doesn't get carried away too much by the glitz and glamour that surround the cricketing world. He's very, very orthodox in his thought process, and he'll be a very balanced man. He knows there is bigger fish to fry in the near future, but he has set the first foot in the right direction, which is the start of anything good. As I said, prior to this Asia Cup, there were many questions about form, about the 11, about what the composition is, the complexities of different people coming from injuries, and the fact that maybe some people need to play differently. A lot of those questions have been answered well in this Asia Cup. Now, the next step is Australian series, which is what he will be looking to do. For me, there is, apart from the one box that he said, there are 2 other boxes for me: Akshar Patel's bowling and Shreyas Iyer getting some game time. These 2 again are areas that he would look at, and then he would be going into Guwahati playing that first game against England, which is a practice game, knowing that this is what we need to do in the World Cup.
I hope he's all right. I mean, it'd be heartache if Akshar Patel, his injury, I don't know how bad the injury is.
Quadriceps is something that can be nasty, but it is not as bad as the hamstring. So I'm thinking that it won't be too bad. Maybe a week he should be okay in a week. So time will kind of help us. But right now, I think we can await a message from BCCI soon as to where he stands with his fitness.
Yes, very interesting 2 weeks coming ahead from the BCCI. I mean, I'm sure their Twitter handle will be watched very, very closely by the fans, hoping for some news on Shreyas Iyer, on Akshar Patel as well. But 39 years of the Asia Cup, India, the most successful team clearly. This was their 8th title. It's just so heartening and such a huge relief to see India win a multinational tournament. Where does this win rank for you in the history of Indian cricket?
I'd love to say wow, but I just have to be more pragmatic and say this was a rehearsal tournament.
Yeah.
If this tournament was I must win the Asia Cup. That is a mission. Yeah, it's huge. When you win a Champions Trophy, it's big. When you win a World Cup, it's for the ages. So, yeah, India won a tournament. I think India were more, the primary objective was, yes, of course, when you get in a tournament, you want to win it. But the primary objective was, are we getting everyone going? This team is so high on pedigree that if everyone is going well, you will win. So I think the primary objective was, is everyone going well? Because if everyone is going well, we are a team that will scare every other team. That is what I hope that the thinking.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Without doubt, every other country, I'm talking about all the other 9 countries walking into the World Cup, believe India is the front runner for this World Cup. And the team that they most fear will be India, if I'm right, for most teams.
It's safe to say that this win is a byproduct of India ticking all its boxes. Since you spoke about pedigree, here it is 1984, the first one, and it's not been a bad outing at all. It took them 5 years to win this cup, but it's come very well. It's a win by 10 wickets. What's in store for India in the next few days? Australia come here. They are in South Africa at the moment. It will be a 3 ODI series. Remember, Australia troubled India a lot. The first ODI at Mohali, and well, clearly a much bigger challenge awaits. Australia are a force of a different kind, Harsha.
Yet Australia actually have a few issues facing them. A lot of key players are coming out of injury. So Australia will look at those 3 games again with dual objectives, saying, can we get Pat Cummins fit and firing? Can we get Mitch Starc fit and firing? Can Steve Smith come back and be fit and firing? Have we lost Travis Head? If we've lost Travis Head, then what? How does it go about? They've picked Matthew Short in that side, but clearly they're looking for someone to open and then get Labuschagne to play in the middle. I promise you, if you ask Manas Labuschagne, do you want to open the batting? He'll say, last words, don't utter another word, I'm going out to bat. So those are the things that, do they send Mitch Marsh up? Do they send Labuschagne at 4, Smith at 3? They're looking at those things, but basically they're saying, can we get our bowling going? Ashton Agar has hardly played. Adam Zampa has been traumatized. When he hit 113 runs, can he get back? So I think Australia will be looking at those things. India will be saying, let's just get our performances. Can we get another Virat Kohli 100? Can we get a big Rohit Sharma innings?
What should India's risk appetite be in the series?
Not too much. I think they are at a position where they don't need to unnecessarily take any risk. I think what they need to be doing is they've put the base, which is in a good place, just slowly keep adding up to it and just get your confidence slowly but steadily up. Also, I think Australia are very much where India were before this Asia Cup. They don't know the exact 11, what their composition is. There's been way too many injuries, a lot of new players coming in. When I say new players, these are all experienced players who have been part of the team, but because of this long ashes and the break that they've had, they're all finding their way back. Maxwell has had an injury post what he's done in England. He's coming back as well. There's plenty of, it'll be a completely different team to the one that is playing today in South Africa. It'll be a very different team.
India's first World Cup game will be played on the 8th of October in Chennai versus Australia. The first ODI of this series is in Mohali. Does India go in with 3 pacers?
Mohali for sure, 3 pacers. It is a venue which aids fast bowling if there is a bit of grass, and if there is zero grass, it definitely doesn't help spinners still. It just comes onto the bat nicely. There will be a good amount of dew as well in the evening. So going with fast bowlers is the better option, and they will go back to the tried and tested Mr. Shardul Thakur golden arm, and he will be doing his bit because he's been a plus point as well. Whenever he's got the opportunity.
41 wickets, we just saw the numbers,
and he deserves this place in the team, and rightfully so as well.
Marsh and Warner at the top, it looks like, or as you said.
I'll just say one thing about Shardul Thakur before I go.
Sure.
And I've been guilty of it too. He got wickets, but there was an inside edge played on. There was, miscue out to mid wicket, and sometimes we undervalue a player, saying, yeah, he got wickets like that. In 27 matches, he got 41 wickets. If you get 41 wickets in 27 matches, I don't care how you got those wickets, man. You got those wickets.
Yeah, most wickets in that.
So we underplay him a little bit.
And also, it's a 2-year period. It's not like a 3-month or a 2-month period. 2 years he's been performing for you. The man deserves his opportunity and is warranted a place in the side. It's just that he might not look as good as a Siraj on any given day, but he's effective in his own way. If you do look at how he gets his wickets, what has fascinated me is the number of inside edge or dragged on bowl that he gets. There is a method to it, I feel, because he has lack of bounce and the way he holds the seam of the ball. A lot of the times it bounces a little lesser than what it should. So you'll find a lot of drag-ons to him, which is, for me, I'm not saying he is able to predict that, but he definitely has a ball which bounces a little lesser than the normal bowler would, which is, I'm not saying a great skill, but which is a skill he has and he's used it to good effect.
Does Washington Sundar stay with the side?
If Akshar Patel is unwell, as I said, if they are looking at experience, they're looking at a match-winning bowler, they could still call up Ravichandran Ashwin. But if they're looking at a package, then they might still go with Washington Sundar, but they will first look at Akshar Patel.
From Australia's point of view, what's a more attractive opening lineup for you? Warner plus Marsh or?
Most likely. Though I think Marsh has done so well at 3, but it's not the Australian thing to say, no, Marsh has done well at 3, let's find somebody else. DK thinks they'll push Marsh up. I wondered whether they push Labuschagne up, keep Marsh at 3, but do you think they'll push?
I have a feeling because he's done so well in the previous tour when he opened with Travis Head and he just took on the bowlers, it will be Warner and Marsh followed by Smith, Labuschagne, Maxwell, Alex Carey and Stoinis. This will be their batting order most likely.
Assuming Pat Cummins and Mitchell Starc are fine and they are a part of the squad, who are your 5 bowlers?
They have to be, because otherwise Australia is not mounting a great challenge. I know Sean Abbott, Michael Neese, these are good bowlers, but these are not bowlers that you think, oh my God, how good can they be? They have to have Starc, and I think the idea behind them not playing in South Africa was to have Starc and Cummins ready. So at full go, they have a choice between playing either Starc, Cummins, Hazelwood, Stoinis, and spin of Maxwell and Zampa. Or if they think they'll get more out of Stoinis, a little bit of Mitch Marsh is not bowled recently, then they can play Ashton Agar and play only 2 of
Hazelwood and Starc.
Hazelwood, Starc and Cummins, 2 of those 3. Yeah.
Zampa might be very low on confidence. He conceded 100 the other night, 111.
It's never a nice feeling, isn't it, to consider 113 runs in your 10 overs. It is hard work. But the man is so strong mentally. Today he got the ball and he made sure he got Henrik Klaasen bowled. So he is one of those characters who has a bit of dogfight in him, and I like that about an Adam Zampa. Being a leg spinner is hard work in white ball cricket, and he is quietly been a bowler who has done consistently well for Australia, and the fact that he is picked in IPL when not many teams play a frontline spinner as a foreigner, if you are not a mystery spinner, and still him managing to play is credit to him, and I think he's found a niche for himself in this Australian team. He's a very important cog in the wheel, and his control and confidence will determine how they control their middle overs actually.
Who starts favourites?
I don't think it, to be honest, I haven't given it a thought. I hope India believe they do, because if India can win this series 3-0, suppose they can, it's a tough call, they're a very good side, then you go, remember you're playing Australia in the first game of the World Cup. Then you're carrying that into the World Cup and you're telling Australia, okay, find a weak link in us. I only hope India don't think too much. Luckily, this team is not too strong in history. You shouldn't always have to go too far back. But Australia and Chennai was a good luck charm for Australia for a long time, whether it was a tight test, whether it was the first game of the 87 World Cup. Australia and Chennai have an old relationship.
And the colour yellow now.
And the colour yellow, correct.
For you? Favourites?
I feel right now India are better placed. They have a more sorted 11 and they'll go in with a lot of confidence.
That is that. The rain troubled us, but we did finally have a result. The reserve day wasn't needed, thankfully, and we can go home early. We can have dinner at home.
The second half also wasn't needed today.
Exactly.
Forget the reserve day. The second half, by the time DK gets home in Chennai, otherwise he would have been sitting here in the studio. That's how quickly it's happened.
The driver's waiting.
I have a lot of time actually. I don't mind speaking for the next half an hour.
Producer didn't hear that.
Okay, before we say goodbye, Joy Factor. I suppose Mr. Bhogle has cracked it already. Let's bring up the question.
I thought I was on. Was Jim Hicks, Gundappa Vishwanath's first wicket? Zahir Abbas or Sunil Gavaskar's only wicket? Has Rahul Dravid only got 1 wicket, or has he got, how many wickets does Rahul Dravid have? There was one test match, 2002, in Antigua in the West Indies, where everybody got their wickets. Wasim Jafar got a wicket, Lakshman got a wicket, Rahul Dravid got a wicket. The only, Ridley Jacob. The only person who didn't get a wicket, I think, that day was Ajay Ratra.
Oh, yes. I remember.
Wow.
This test.
Everybody bowled, and part of me thinks Chandapal is still batting in that test match.
Okay, bhai. Who's the winner? Let's get Mr. Bhogle to say hello. Suryansh Sethia has got it right. Sir, deserves a hello from the two of you.
Well done.
हो गया. चलो भाई, घर चलते हैं. Thank you very much, Rohit Sharma, for sending Ishan Kishan in. I know it was a very smart tactical move. It worked. and we can all go home soon. It's been a fun Asia Cup. Big thank you to the cast and the crew, our experts as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manish.
Thank you. To the ground staff as well, they worked really hard, and I'm glad that big prize money, a big cash award has been announced for the ground staff in Colombo. Congratulations, India. Asia Cup win for the 8th time. That's it from all of us. On a happy note, on an early note, we're saying goodbye. Make sure you watch Cricbuzz Live during the India-Australia series as well.